Namaskaram and hello dear friends. Today we are going to finish the June 2021 paper PYQs and we will discuss the rest of the 30 questions. Okay. Which among the following are the best understood phases on Bollywoodization according to Rajadhyaksha? Cultural and economic patronage of NRI diasporic communities, influence of Hollywood cinematic techniques on Indian cinema, marketing of Bollywood abroad, transformation of the domestic film industry shaped by the ambition of people abroad, endorsement of the anti-tier theory of the European films. This can be a little difficult question. If you have read about Bollywoodization process, what it was, so you can answer this maybe. So the correct answer is A, C, and D. Cultural and economic patronage of NRI diasporic communities, marketing of Bollywood abroad, and transformation of the domestic film industry shaped by the ambition of people abroad. So it was more about NRI people who were abroad, and it depended on kind of their patronage. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Next question is, which of the following are the functions of research hypothesis? We have dealt with this question before in the 23 or 22 paper. So you should read about what is a research hypothesis, what are its functions. You should read the research part very carefully and comprehensively. Should produce negative correlation, should generate intervening variables, should provide direction for the study undertaken, should eliminate the trial and error method, must permit quantification of variables. So research hypothesis is a guess. It is a statement which we make about our research problem. So it definitely provide a direction for the study. So C option should be there. It is given in 3 options. Okay. Then we can eliminate some negative or which don't make sense. Should produce negative correlation? No, it will depend on the research. We don't know whether the correlation will be positive or negative. So it is not the work of hypothesis. So eliminate option A also. Okay. And okay, then we are left with 50-50 situation. C and D are correct. Should eliminate the trial and error method. We have to choose between now B and E. Should generate intervening variables and must permit quantification of variables. If you know what are intervening variables, and if we generate intervening variables, they would interfere with our research and would not produce genuine results. So B is not the work of hypothesis. E, must permit quantification of variables is the correct answer, because in hypothesis we test the hypothesis, and when the variables are quantified then we can test that. Okay, so C, D and E are the correct options. Next question is, which of the following are the sources of artifacts? Artifacts here means which can interfere with our research. So options are literal replication, history, instrumentation, random sampling, experimental mortality. So if you have read the research book by Wimmer and Dominic, mass communication research book, you can answer this question. So see, random sampling, they are not the source of artifacts. In fact, random sampling is considered to be good. Like if you choose random sampling, your results would be better. So D is not the option. D, eliminate D. Then you are left with 50-50 situation. B and C are correct. You have to choose between A and E. Okay. Then experimental mortality. Of course, if the samples on which we are doing the experimentation, they get die, so our research would be affected. So E should be in the option B, C, and E. It is the correct answer. C. I tell you, literal replication. What is literal replication? That we replicate our study for again, so that any error, if there is any error, it gets eliminated and our research gets validity and reliability. So A should not be in the option. So A also eliminated. Now random sampling we eliminated, as I told you. So D also eliminated. Now we are left with B, C, and E. History and instrumentation. History, because if our research is stretched for so long, then our samples they may forget their answers, or the technology may change, or other things may happen. So and then our instruments may become obsolete. So they can also affect our research, particularly the scientific research, and experimental mortality can also take place. So these are the correct options. Next is, which of the following are the steps in content analysis? Formulation of research question, defining the identified population, selecting an appropriate sample, excluding the quantitative methods, avoid defining the categories for data analysis. Now, correct which of the steps we follow in content analysis. You don't have to tell the sequence, you just have to tell which of the following options are correct in content analysis. See, we formulate a research question in content analysis, yes. Define the identified population, yes. Select an appropriate sample, yes, of course we do that. Excluding the quantitative method, no. Quantitative method can be used both in qualitative and quantitative research, so it is not correct. Avoid defining the categories for data analysis. In content analysis, in fact, we develop categories, okay? So these are this will be not included in our answer. So A, B and C are correct, okay? Next is, which of the following factors determine the relevance of the topic for communication research? So, vastness of the topic, significance of the problem, need to generalize the findings, reputation of the supervisor, or easiness of the subject. See here, reputation of the supervisor, it has nothing to do with the relevance of the topic. So, eliminate option D. Gets eliminated. Now we are left with 2. B and C automatically gets correct. Significance of the problem, we can see it is correct. Need to generalize the findings. Of course, we want to generalize our findings. So B and C otherwise are also correct. So we have to choose between A and D. A and D. Sorry. I thought, okay. Reputation of the supervisor doesn't matter. So D option gets eliminated and we reach to the right answer. A, B and C. Vastness of the topic, significance of the problem, need to generalize the findings. Now, easiness of the subject we don't take into account because we don't see if the topic difficult or easy. We see how is it significant or not, is it feasible, the study is feasible or not. Okay. Vastness of the topic, of course, it matters. If it is too vast, then we need to think about the topic. Okay. Now, match the list with 1 with 2. There's this author and this is the concept. Dennis McQuell and Gurevite, William Stephenson, Donald and Virginia Fry, Patterson and McClure. Concepts are about political socialization, meaning theory, play and entertainment, structural functionalism. Okay, read all the theories very carefully, very comprehensively, and we have discussed this before that William Stephenson dealt with play and entertainment theory. Okay, it is also given in Seema Hassan book. If you have gone through the book, then B goes for 3. So we get to the 50-50 situation. Okay, this and this. Then we have to see further. So Dennis McQuell. Okay, maybe if you know that Dennis McQuell and Gurevite are associated with structural functionalism. So maybe you can get to the right answer. So here the right answer is Dennis McQuell and Gurevite with structural functionalism, William Stephenson play and entertainment theory, Donald and Virginia Fry meaning theory, Patterson and McClure political socialization. Okay, you can also Google these theories and what the concept is all about. Next is, now you have to match the book with the author. People's Choice, Empire of Communication, The Mind Manager, World Politics and Personal Insecurity. I don't know if you have read these or not, but People's Choice, it is very important and it is maybe also given in Seema Hassan book. People's Choice is associated with Paul Lazarsfeld because then they gave the two-step theory. They studied about the presidential election, US presidential election. Okay, so A goes for 4 and it is given in one option only. Okay, so I answered this by marking this. Okay, then but you also remember the other options also, like Empire of Communication by Harold Innis, HA Innis. Okay, C, The Mind Manager, Herbert Schiller, World Politics and Personal Insecurity, it was for Harold D Laswell. Okay, next is diffusion research, tradition and innovation studies. You have to match these: anthropological, early sociology, marketing, communication, technological innovation, technological ideas, ham radio, new products. So what do you think? It can be little confusing, but marketing maybe goes for new products because marketing is associated with products. So C goes for 4 and it is given in only one option and it is the correct answer. So sometimes guesswork also works, but I again repeat that always attempt all the questions because there is no negative marking till now. Maybe in the future UGC may add the negative marking because as the competition increases they may use this. So up till now you need to attempt all the questions. So be be a good time manager. So the answers are anthropological, technological ideas, then early sociology was for ham radio, then marketing for new products and communication for technological innovations. So communication, you can remember this by as technology, there are new innovations in technology, we get new methods of communication. Okay. Then D to 1, you can also could have reached the right answer by this if you associated this by this. Okay. Next is list one with 2. New journalism, collaborative journalism, yellow journalism, muckraking, Bastian Obremar, Upton, Sinclair, Tom Wolfe, W.R. Hurst. In the previous questions of this June 2021 paper, we read that new journalism is associated with Tom Wolfe. Okay, so A goes for 3. And now we can reach to the right answer. But if you don't know this, then you must know it. It comes in in many books, and you might have come across this term yellow journalism. It is associated with William Randolph Hearst. So C goes for 4. Okay, then you can reach to the 50-50 situation. So the correct answer is this. New journalism, Tom Wolfe, collaborative journalism, Bastian Obermeyer, then yellow journalism, William Randolph Hearst, W.R. Hearst, muckraking, Upton Sinclair. Remember this now. Upton Sinclair. PR agency and headquarters, Edelman, MSL Group, Brunswick, Ogilvy, Paris, London, New York, Chicago. So maybe you are familiar with Ogilvy. Ogilvy is with New York. D goes for 3 and you can reach to the right answer, but remember all the other names also. Edelman, Chicago, then MSL Group, Paris, Brunswick with London, and Ogilvy with New York. Okay, remember this. At least remember 2 or 3. Now, then Ogilvy is important. This name comes many times. Now list 1. Country with information legislation. Canada, Australia, India, Bhutan. Right Information Act 14. Access to Information Act 1983. Freedom of Information Act 1982. Right to Information Act 2005. In such situations, sometimes just common sense works, elimination method works. Just one answer, India, RTI. We have dealt with this before also in previous papers also. So India is RTI, Right to Information Act 2005. Remember this. And by just knowing this, C goes for 4, you can reach to the right answer. Okay. So Canada, Access to Information Act 1983, then Australia, Freedom to Information Act 1982, India 2005, Bhutan, Information Act 2014. So you can remember this that Bhutan is a recent country who have introduced Right to Information Act 2000 in 2014. Okay. Now media, match the media outlet with ownership pattern. The Hindu, Times of India, CNN, TV 18, The Tribune, cross media ownership, trust, family ownership, corporate ownership, external. So there are many types of media ownership like chain media ownership, cross media, conglomerates, trust, vertical. You need to study all these ownership patterns. It is mentioned in your media management unit also. So maybe you can have a guess. Times of India is cross media ownership. Cross media ownership is when one media in has ownership in other media also. Like Times of India is a print media, means it is a newspaper, but it has also a radio channel also. Okay, and a radio channel and also a TV channel also. So when one media has stake in other mediums also. So B goes for 1 and by knowing this you can reach to the right answer. But others you should know that Tribune is a trust. Okay. So The Hindu is a family ownership and Times of India is a cross media ownership. CNN TV 18 is corporate ownership external. CNN came externally. You should know that. Tribune, trust. Tribune is a trust. Okay. Next, match animation studio with the content created. My Entertainment, Toons Animation, Green Gold Animation, Studio Durga, Chota Bheem, Karm Chakra, Mondoyan, Aryan. Personally, I found it very difficult because I didn't knew that, so I made a wild guess. So the correct option is My Entertainment, Aryan, Toons Animation, Mondoyan, then Green Gold Animation, Chota Bheem, and Studio Durga, Karm Chakra. At least you should know Chota Bheem because it is a very famous cartoon. So it is associated with Green Gold Animation. Okay, remember this. Now, Soviet montage, neo-realism, French New Wave, British New Cinema, Rome Open City, Clio from 5 to 7, A Taste of Honey Strike. Just the in June 2021 paper itself, we discussed that French New Wave. It has some of the famous films of French New Wave. I told you one of the films were Clio from 5 to 7. Just by knowing this, you could have reached to the right answer. C goes for just a second. No, by knowing this, you couldn't have reached to the right answer. C goes for 2, but it is given in 3 options. So okay, then it's your luck. So the correct answer is Soviet montage associated with strike, neorealism, Rome, open city. Remember this, it is important. Neorealism, Rome, open city. Then French New Wave, Clio from 5 to 7, and British New Cinema, A Taste of Honey. If you are interested in films and cinema and reading the cinema, you might know these answers. But I personally don't. I am not good in these. So if I have to cram all these answers. So you can either cram these or you can take an active interest and read the film books. Okay. Next is factors of research and their description. It is as it is given in the Wimmer and Dominic book. Tenacity, what is tenacity, intuition, authority, science. So you can associate science with truth is found out by repeated objective analysis, because if you know what is scientific method, then you should know that truth is found by repeated objective. In science we do repetitive objective analysis. So D is associated with 2, and by knowing this you can reach to the right answer. But otherwise also you should know all these options because they are mentioned as it is ditto in the Wimmer and Dominic book, which you should read for the research unit of your UGC NET syllabus. So tenacity is something is true because it has always been true. Intuition is something is true because it is self-evidence. Authority is because it is from a trusted source. And science, objective analysis, repeated objective analysis. Next, chronological sequence. You have to find out this chronological sequence. Tracts, news books, Corentos, diurnals, newspapers. If you have read the print media history, maybe you can answer this. So you can take a guess that all these maybe come first and newspaper came in the last. Okay, newspaper is the recent coming. Diurnals, they came much earlier than newspaper. So you can, if you know that E came in the end, then you can reach to the right answer just by a guess, if you apply a guess work. So tracts came first, then Corentos, then diurnals, then newsbooks, and then newspapers. Okay. Try to weave a story around it. First came tracts, then Corentos, diurnals, newsbooks, newspapers. Newsbooks, then came newspaper, B, E. If you knew this, somehow you could reach to the right answer. Now we have to find the sequence of the following social reformers, journalists in India, in terms of their publications. One thing you must know that all the freedom fighters, maybe there may be one or two exceptions. Otherwise, all the freedom fighters, they were journalists because they put out their newspapers or magazines or journals. They used to write somewhere, so they were all journalists. So the history of Indian journalism is associated with the Indian freedom struggle. Okay, so you have to tell the sequence here. Mahatma Gandhi, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ram Manohar Lohiya, Veerashalingam Punthulu. So if you know who was the elder among them, you can tell the sequence somehow. So if you have read the modern history, so Raja Ram Mohan Rai came first, then came Bal Gangadhar Tilak, then came Mahatma Gandhi. Then okay, C B, there is, if there is some options. Okay, no, C E, C then E. Okay, Raja Ram Mohan Rai always he was the first personality to come on the scene in the Indian freedom struggle. So C came first, then E. I was not sure about this, but it is given in the option. So Veer Shalingam Panthalu, then B and A, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi, and D, Ram Manohar Lohia. He was the last to come. Okay, on the scene. So by knowing this, uh, you can reach to the right answer. Ram Manohar Lohia, otherwise also he was, if you know something about him, then he was present after Indian independence also. So somehow relate this that D was should come in the end and A should come first. Sorry, Raja Ram Mohan Rai. C should come first. So by knowing this, you can reach to the right answer. Then identify the correct sequence of elements in a newspaper's front news page. If you know the layout of a newspaper, if you know what are the elements in a newspaper, then maybe you can reach to the right answers here. Headlines, nameplate, years, anchor story, skyline banner. So see, skyline banner, skyline headline. It is such an important headline. For example, if a prime minister died, or if a terrorist attack has happened in the country. So it is so important that it is placed even before the title of the newspaper. So correct sequence would be E should come first. So just by knowing this, you can reach to the right answer, E. Then we know, then nameplate, name of the newspaper, then C, years of the newspaper. If you read the newspaper, then there you see the Suvichar and the Sensex, the numbers about Sensex. Those are the years. Then came the headlines, then anchor story. Or if you don't know about the skyline banner, then if you know anchor story is given in the end. If in the front newspaper, in the end, in the bottom, anchor story is given. So if you know that anchor story comes in the end, so D should come in the end. By knowing this, you should have reached to the right answer. So somehow you should have managed. Next question is James Webb Young in his model on how advertising works gave a 5-part logical sequence. Identify the correct sequence from the options. So also remember that James Webb Young is associated with advertising. So what is the correct sequence of how an advertising works? Overcome inertia, add value, remind, disseminate, familiarize. So in every advertising model, whenever we read, we try to create the awareness. For example, if you have read the AIDA model, AIDA, it says attention, then interest, then desire, then action. So A always comes first, means awareness. You try to familiarize the customers with the product or service. So E should come first. And by knowing this, you could reach to the right answer. But let us check. E, then C, remind the people about your idea. Then D, D, disseminate. Then A, add value. Then D, disseminate, A, overcome inertia, and then B, add value. This is somewhat confusing. It is not, very much making sense. If you have read the James Webb Young model, then maybe you can answer this question, but otherwise it is very difficult. So familiarize. Sometimes you reach to the right answer by guesswork and by knowing just the starting point or the ending point. Okay, or you can innovate an acronym also for this, like FRD, then OFRDOA. Okay, uh, you need to develop your own tricks to remember things. Okay, next is the sequence of logical questions in planning for public relations campaign. While you are planning for a PR campaign, what is the sequence of the questions? What do I want to achieve? How shall I say it? Who do I want to talk to? How do I know I have got it right? What do I want to say? So, if you read the question carefully, how do I know I have got it right? It is a part of evaluation when you have done the things. So, it should come in the end. So, D comes in the end only in one option, in the second option. So, you can reach to the right answer. And okay, let us examine this. This is the correct answer. Or what do I want to achieve? First, we set our objectives. Achievement is related with objectives. So A should come first. This is how maybe you can reach to the right answer. Then who do I want to talk to? Who are my publics? Then what do I want to say? What will I say? Then B, how shall I say it? What media will I use? Then it is the evaluation part. Okay. First we set objectives, then set our publics, then what is our message, then our media, then in the evaluation. Last we do evaluation. Now we have to tell the correct sequence of these acts. Official secrets, Indian Penal Code, working journalists, press and registration of books, Right to Information Act. We have dealt with this question before also. Right to information, if you know, it came in the end. So should come in the end, and it is given in the only one option. You could reach to the right answer, but you should remember all these acts are important. So you should remember the years. Official Secrets Act 1923, Indian Penal Code 1860, Working Journalists 1955, Press and Registrations of Books 1867, Right to Information 2005. Now, the correct sequence of following trends in American journalism. Okay. Pass on readership, penny press, yellow journalism, jazz journalism, corporate journalism. It is somewhat difficult, but if you think about it and little apply your mind, then you see corporate journalism. Corporate is recent phenomena, corporate journalism and corporate communication, all this. So E should come in the end. Okay. Okay. If you know what is a pass on readership is when you don't buy the newspaper yourself, but you read it if someone else has read it, like someone else has purchased it. For example, your brother, your neighbor has purchased the newspaper, and then you say to him that you will, after he reads the newspaper, you will borrow his newspaper. So pass on readership. The newspaper is passed on from one person to another. Then came penny press, then yellow journalism, jazz journalism, or corporate journalism. This correct sequence is A, B, C, and D in the sequence in which they are given. So this is the sequence in American journalism. Pass on readership, I have already told you. Okay, remember this sequence. Next is different stages of internet development in sequence. So if you are good with computers and internet part, so maybe you can answer this. Data transfer system in packages, appearance of MP3 format, creation of first local network, creation of search engine, development of hypertext documents. You see, www came first, then we have search engines. So D should come after E. ED, ED. Uh, so ED is given in two options. See, ED, because E came first, D came in later. So ED, the sequence is only in two options. In other options, D is given first and then E. So we can reach to the 50-50 situations like this. Now, A, B, C, A, C, E. Let us see A, B or A, C. So data transfer system in packages came first, then came B or C, appearance of MP3 format. So it seems that MP3, because music came after the first local network. So what should be the right answer? 4. Let us check. So it is the correct answer. Data transfer system, because you might not be sure that data transfer system came in packages came first or not. But you, by applying common sense, then first the website www world wide web was discovered, then we had search engines like Chrome, Google, etc. For Firefox, Mozilla, etc. So I told you D. So E and D should be the sequence. So by knowing this, you could eliminate two options, and then you should apply your mind that MP3 came in the end. Then came first local network. So anyway, data transfer systems in packages, creation of first local network, development of hypertext documents, then creation of search engine, and then appearance of MP3 format. This is the correct sequence. Okay. Next is which common order is to be followed in a news story according to Carol Reach. Lead code, comments, net graph, impact. So what do you think, my friends? Okay. If you see in such kind of questions, try first or second, like first or and not first and second, first and last options. So what do you think? E came in the should come in the end, or C should come in the end? Impact or comments? Uh, if you ask me, I would go with comments, maybe comments. Okay, then we are done with 50-50 situation. Then A should come first or B should come first. Maybe I would go with B. Means option 2. Lead should come first. So let us know. It is A, D. Lead and E should not come in the end. It is C should come in the end. I also said comments should come in the end. Okay. I don't know. So lead, then net graph. I already told you what is a net graph. Is net graph which summarizes the story for us. Then B, lead quote. Then E, impact. Then C, comments. Okay. It is a little confusing, but okay. Maybe by according to Carol Rich or Rick, it is the correct answer. Lead, net graph, lead quote, then impact, then comments. Okay. According to Carol Reach, a common order for a news story might look like lead, nut graph, lead quotes, supporting facts or impact. See here, impact, more quotes and comments from sources, additional information, then ending. Okay, you can take a screenshot here. Next is correct sequence of basic steps in focus group research. You know what a focus group research is, in which we ask questions to to a group of people. Okay, then we have to tell the sequence. Prepare the study mechanics, determine the number of groups needed, select a sample, define the problem, execute the research plan. So if you see, if you have read the research properly, you know we always define the problem first. So D should come first, and it is given in only one option. So we can reach to the right option like this. Then we can check also. C, define the problem, select a sample, determine the number of groups needed, prepare the study mechanics, and execute the research plan. Of course, when we are done with all these, then in the end we execute the research plan. Okay, so it is correct. Next is assertion and reason. We have to tell which is true or false. The classical functions of media represents their universal acceptance among media theorists. The functional analysis theory of media has its dysfunctions listed by its critics. So of course, the critics list its dysfunctions, and classical functions of media represent their universal acceptance among media theorists. So it is A is false, because universal acceptance. Here, if you closely examine the assertion, I have already told you that extreme statements are generally wrong. The classical functions of media means the traditional functions of media represent their universal acceptance. No, there is never a universal acceptance among among all the functions of media. And if you see in reasons, it is saying critics, it is talking about critics. So there will always be a critic about any function of media. So if you know that A is wrong, then automatically R is true. It is only in fourth option. So sometimes you can reach to the right options like this. Now, the assertion says traditional development approaches of understanding reality is a violation of the very idea of communication. ट्रेडिशनल जो डेवलपमेंटल अप्रोचेस हैं जो which we apply to understand reality, is it a violation of the very idea of communication? Okay, maybe. A criticism is that the notion of mass communication itself is oxymoron, leading to information oligarchy. That it is criticized. People who criticize mass communication, they say it itself is an oxymoron, leading to information oligarchy. That information is uh, accessible to some people only. Oligarchy is when power rests with only some people. So it is all, of course, it is a criticism. Then first also seems to be correct. So okay, both options are correct. So because some say it, these this assertion and reason, to me sometimes they seem vague. So you can take a risk also. You can see R is true. If you understand some mass communication concept, then R is correct. Then you can reach to the 50-50 situation. Then the option A is, to me it appears vague. It is not telling us what it wants to say clearly. But for the future's sake, you should remember that traditional developmental approaches of understanding reality, it is a violation of very idea of communication. Okay. So our next question is, assertion says the television news presentation is a disjointed narrative. Reason is, in the absence of alternative credible information, the media frames do matter for the audience. Okay, television news representation is a disjointed narrative. Uh, okay, let us check the answer. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Okay, टेलीविजन न्यूज जो है वो प्रेजेंट करती है डिसजॉइंटेड नैरेटिव को. द assertion it is saying correct. To me these are very vague statements. If I were to attempt these questions, I might have marked the wrong answer, or I should have taken the risk, or I should have taken the wild guess. Okay. In the absence of alternative credible information, the media frames do matter for the audience. Okay. But these two uh, assertion and reason, they don't correlate. So it is not the correct explanation of R. So A option gets eliminated, but we were not sure about the 2, 3, and 4 option. So for future sake, remember this. Next is, assertion is the law of copyright is also applied to advertisements in media. Of course, you can't copy any advertisement. Then A is true. So reason is the copyright is in the advertising matter belongs to the advertiser in the absence of any contract otherwise. So copyright belongs to the advertiser. So of course R is they both are true, and correct explanation is R is correct explanation of A, because copyright belongs to the advertiser who gives the advertising. Okay. Next is last question for today, and last question of June 2021 paper is, assertion says more media means more accessibility as well as increase in economic concentration in media, besides knowledge gap between rich and poor. Again read the statement. मोर मीडिया, अगर और ज़्यादा मीडिया होगा मीन्स मोर एक्सेसिबिलिटी, कि हमें उसकी ज़्यादा एक्सेसिबिलिटी होगी, ये ट्रू है. आगे वाला स्टेटमेंट कहता है एज वेल एज इंक्रीज इन इकोनॉमिक कंसंट्रेशन इन मीडिया, ऑफ कोर्स रेवेन्यू बढ़ेगा. बिसाइड्स नॉलेज गैप बिटवीन रिच एंड पुअर. इफ यू नो द नॉलेज गैप हाइपोथेसिस or the knowledge gap theory, it says that as the media increases, media has more accessibility, but there is a gap between rich and poor, who can afford this media, who cannot afford this media. So there will be always a gap between the two. So assertion is correct. Reason is the conventional mass media like newspapers, radio, and television, along with electronic and digital options, are responsible for expanded reach and options for the consumers. This is also true. They are responsible for expanded reach and options. So, but if They both are true, but do you think R is the correct explanation of A or not? Mm, to me, yes, this is the correct explanation. If you are confused now, let me give you a mantra. If you know that both the statements are true, but if R is correct explanation of A or not, if you are confused, if you are not sure, even 1% if you are not sure, then mark option A, that R is the correct explanation of A. If you are sure that it is not correct explanation, then of course go for that. But if you are not sure, then blindly I would say mark option 1, that R is correct explanation. Okay. So with this, we have completed the June 2021 paper, and I hope you are following this PYQs. See friends, if you are not following my videos, then please start doing these PYQs from our Gupta book, which I have told you. This is the UGC NET Mass Communication and Journalism previous year papers book by R. Gupta. But if you follow my videos, then I'm not promoting my video here. It is not my motive, main motive, but I'm just telling you that you will learn some new techniques, especially the elimination techniques, and you will get to know where you should eliminate, where you should, how you can reach to the right answer by identifying the right options. Okay. So anyway, keep learning, happy learning, take care. That's for today. Thank you.